JM Race Engines is a new business in north central Missouri that have you covered from top to bottom for all your engine needs. Purpose-built engines with the correct amount of clearance will get you to the end of any show, whether it's your local shows or on the national level, where you can't be let down by your equipment. With top-level professional machine work to all engines, your choice of build is totally up to you. JM Race Engines will give you the confidence to push your equipment to the max while giving you your preferred horsepower to boot. From LS builds all the way to your exotic level small blocks that your imagination can only dream of, they have you covered.
But it doesn't stop there. They are also a speed shop that carries a variety of heads, carburetors, intakes, plug wires, helmets, and other safety equipment, and the best VP fuel on the market today to take you to the top. So if you're wanting mild build to wild build, let JM Race Engines help take you there. Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Nosed Derby Podcast, what's up?
Well, see, the other day we were talking about all the snow. Now we can talk about all the rain.
I floated here.
Did your beard keep you afloat?
Yeah.
You buoyant bitch, you.
That was these delicious garage beers.
Yes, they are keeping those around home, and we've got Hoist around home as well.
Yep.
I don't know how they just keep funneling over this way.
They needed to.
Yes.
Because I was bootlegging this shit. Felt like Smoking a Bandit.
Oh, my. Hey, we've got somebody in the studio with us.
Oh, Mr. Traffic Cone himself.
That's right, 369, Mr. Dale Colbert. What's up, dude?
How's it going? I appreciate y'all having me on.
How's your arm feeling?
It's worn out from strapping a car on a trailer.
16 inches at a time, he said.
Man,
That's one thing you don't really think about. Hey, I should probably charge the winch battery.
well, 90% of the people anymore, you know, they've got those solar panels that are cheap enough that they're mounting them on the front of the trailer.
Yeah, I got one of those, but it hasn't been hooked up in a while.
Yeah, and that happens a lot. Or you could be like me and pull a car up too far. And then no more solar panel.
Well, then I had 2 jump boxes, and of course they're both dead.
Oh, naturally. Like, why wouldn't they be? And of course, it has to be the shittiest day.
Right, pouring down.
Oh,
rain.
yeah.
Cold, rainy,
Yeah, it's rained for hours.
half-ass windy. Dude, since 11 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
And we're recording at 2 o'clock.
Yeah. We got a shitload of rain. Well, Mr. Dale has ran pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
Las Vegas,
Yep.
Kansas,
Yep.
Missouri,
Yep.
Illinois,
Yep.
Tennessee,
Kentucky.
Kentucky, Bluegrass, Bash. Dude, how we had you on, it was damn near 2 years ago.
Yep. We did that over the phone. This will be way better.
We know the story how you got the traffic cone. If there's new listeners that haven't gone back and listened to the old stuff, you want to give them a heads up on how that happened?
Yeah, the very first car I ran was the only one I've ever ran without a traffic cone. My buddies had one on top of their car, and everybody could follow it around the track because this is before the roof sign. I started in 95. So and then whoever did better out of us two at that derby, the traffic cone was the prize, and then it's been on my car ever since.
Is it because you just whipped him, or was it because he was like, yeah, I'm done?
Neither one of us knew anything, but I made the feature, so I got it. We used to have a big ceremonial party, put the cone on the car, and now it's like a last-minute thing.
Well, you are known. Without a doubt, that is something that
Everybody
Steven's known for his beard.
Right. You know, yeah. I mean, I'm the bearded dude.
I have seen the dude without a beard, and it's thank God he grows facial hair.
Well, he'll get to see it when he walks back out of here because there's
Because he's gonna walk right past your senior picture.
Yeah.
of 20 years ago.
Stop.
Well, I was kind of disappointed because I was hoping his bride was going to come because I was kind of wanting to see Steven get kicked in the dick.
Yeah, we would have been wrestling in this basement.
She's making cookies. I told her. I was like, you should come along.
Yeah, anytime somebody's going to get sack kicked, I want to watch that because that is the funniest part of ridiculousness.
Yes. I don't know. The Scorpions are pretty good. I love seeing somebody.
Yeah,
just,
lawn chair,
Oh,
scorpions.
dude.
What'd you do? I kicked myself on the back of the head, my own head.
Well, we've asked everybody else that has been on here that went to Bristol, just because that was kind of the new thing this year. Besides the chaos and the unorganization that they tackled on their first time, what was your thoughts?
I loved it. I thought it was a hell of a show on the track. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen on the track or whatever. And then all the stuff with the scheduling or whatever. I mean, they had no clue how long. I mean, a lot of them heat races. There was a heat race that was 20 minutes long of 4 cars just going at it. I mean, it was the drivers knows national and whatever they call them classes or whatever, the pro or pro stock.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the best drivers around, the best builders around, with the best equipment around.
Well, and we had a lot of people screaming at us, well, tell them they need to put a time limit on it. You can't do that.
Right, yeah. Because some classes be over in 8 minutes, and the next class was 20 minutes, and it was just as hard as hitting.
Well,
And then the next class was 2.
Right.
Well, who would want to put a time limit on the dog fights that you got to see?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure Dale will agree, dude. I enjoyed watching that.
Yeah, me too.
Like, that shit was awesome.
I've watched derbies all over, and it was by far one of the best I've seen on the track.
Yeah, Derek, you should have been there.
There's going to be a dick kicking going on today anyways.
He missed a hell of a show.
The atmosphere in that
Yeah.
place, the way the motors sounded was
Right.
even different. The way they echoed through that place, it was. I sound like a broken record,
Well,
on
I mean,
that show. But
just think about that. Just think about that track with 43 NASCARs at 900 horse apiece,
Right.
going around that bitch at one time.
well, we got to see 8
Right.
Yes.
in the center of it, and they weren't shifting; they were bouncing. I mean, it was. It was definitely an experience.
It was amazing pulling in there just to see how big Bristol is. And then everybody says how small the track is. The track was actually good size, but when you put it in a big place like Bristol, it looks tiny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I mean, it was badass. Like, well, I followed you all in the skid loader.
Yeah.
And just, you got to, I mean, we drove trucks and derby cars and a skid loader on Bristol Motor Speedway.
yes.
Well, Anthony Stark took the semi around the middle of the
Yes.
turn.
He's lucky that somebody didn't fucking flip.
I was following him on skid loader.
We were watching. Everybody's like, holy shit, you see that?
Well, Anthony's never really been known.
No,
be a
I thought he was going to go ahead.
scientist.
I thought he was going to go ahead and take a lap
He should have.
because he was shifting.
So, dude, one thing that we've kind of been asking guys, especially, running on the level that you have, what is your favorite show to date that you ever ran?
I'd say Vegas. Vegas was one of the coolest shows I've ever been to. Just not for everything on the track, but the
whole atmosphere.
the whole atmosphere. I mean, I took my car off the track, and I got a picture at home. There's people from 7 different states working on my car to get it back out there for the Consi. I mean, just
How cool is
old
that
school
shit?
like Derby, and and then I was helping out like Justin Broadhead. That guy come on the track. He's like, "Oh, pull the front end down." He's like, "I'm going to run it just like it is." I was like, "Man." Me and my brother torched on the back end of his car, got it looking nice, and he was just ready to go.
That's the part that we kind of hit on a lot is because you go to places like that and you leave with new buddies.
Right.
I mean, that's really what
Yep.
probably started you and Justin. Justin doing your graphics and your
I ran down at Bluegrass Bash. I think it was like 2016, and I found Justin and just randomly messaged him. I've had door wraps from George High Note. And,
Yeah. And me too. Like, that's who did all my stuff, for out there, like Blizzard Bash and stuff.
Yeah. My first roof sign was Hill Job Graphics. I mean, I have JD Auto Graphics, and I think they're out of Indiana. But I just liked getting the different ones to see what everybody else, what their idea, what their concept was. Mm-hmm. And then I hit Justin up, and then he's pretty much been on my car about ever since.
Well, and I'm sure you can agree with this. Justin and Chunk both, they go above and beyond.
Oh, for sure.
Whenever it comes to customer service, and I'm not cutting any of these other guys down whatsoever, because George was awesome, whenever I got stuff from him. Hill Job's good.
Right.
But I'm telling you, I can make a dumbass request 3 days before I need stickers.
Right.
And both of them are like, oh, yeah, that's fine. Then like 2 o'clock in the morning, you get 4 pictures. Hey, which one of these do you want?
And then a shipping label.
Yeah. I'm like, oh.
That was me and George, because we were going to have our cars painted down there, and then found out that the graffiti artist wasn't going to be there. So we literally hit Justin up at about 10 p.m. on Thursday night before we went, and he had us the start of our designs that night and had them shipped to us by Tuesday morning the day I was leaving. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my shirts for Bristol, like, Chunk was like, they're not there yet. I was like, not yet. He's like, oh, hold on. Yeah. And they were here before I left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dropped the ball on that. Chunk was going to make me some T-shirts, and then I'm horrible about checking messages, so I missed it. And I was like, oh, shit, I just seen this. Sorry.
But, I mean, the level of the customer service is just insane.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys.
Yep.
That's
why they're all on our shit.
I just messaged them and was like, hey, this is something I'm thinking about doing. We'll start that now.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to do that.
Right.
But they insist. Like,
oh, yeah. You're like, no, bro, just a month, 2
well,
months
dude, they're
down the road.
always, like, making stuff, and, like, they'll just randomly print shit with hard nose on it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they do shit that we don't even ask them to, and that is just, that's where you find that loyalty, to somebody. Whenever they're doing shit like that, like, I'd be ignorant to go somewhere else.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, I've hosed Justin more than once. I've called, hey, I need some door wraps. I think my hard nose wraps I ran on my station wagon. I think he found out about that on like a Tuesday night.
Well, what's good is him, he kind of takes your idea and he does his own thing with it. Mm-hmm. So you just don't even really have to explain, hey man, I'm wanting something that pops and kind of something like this. Right. And then he sends you a picture
of something that you weren't thinking about that's better than your idea.
Right. Yeah. And you're like, oh yeah, that'll work.
I was like, last year for Christmas, I got Chase roof sign and door wraps, and like Chase had no idea what he wanted, and just gave him a few ideas, and Justin sent him over a proof that night, and then he just started adding to it, and Chase wanted to add things, and he's like, I don't want to piss him off. I was like, you're not pissing him off. I was like, you can't piss this guy off.
No,
it's impossible.
Not unless you sandbag.
Right.
But then that will piss him off. Well, you were just talking about Chase. We always talk about progression. I don't know how things change, in the past 5 years, from your builds 2016, 17 to where they are now. How is it to watch your son start and his progression in the sport right next to you?
Yeah. He, the first race he got to run when he was 15. I built a car to run local show of Troy, and I didn't read the rules. I knew what they were, or thought I did, but they changed it to 80 and newer, and I built a 76 Malibu, and he was originally going to ride with me in stock class, and then that car was a rusted out piece of crap, but they were going to let me run it, and then there's a few other guys, I won't mention names, who
Got a little butt hurt.
Got a little sensitive over it. So I was just like, it's fine. I was like, I'm not going to start no drama. We'll just leave this thing sitting on track. I was like, but can Chase drive it in the street stock class? He's like, if you're willing to put him in it. And, well, we put in there. I was the first car, or one of the first cars on the track. And then they went to start it right before, and the old flywheel was zinging. But he ended up making the track, and then he made some big hits, and I think I won, and he took last.
And he took last.
But
where he should have.
The amount of emotion it brought to the rest of the family, because the local track or local show, I mean, we probably had 25 or 30 people, and then you can ask Casey when you see her, they were all getting choked up when Chase come pulling on the track. Like, how's this little kid who just ran Power Wheels here 3-4 years ago? Because he got into Power Wheels when he was 8, 9, and he was kind of a bigger kid, so I'll have to show you some pictures of those.
Well, that's the thing. I got to go to Troy for the first year this year. I was mind blown at the amount of people.
Right. And the amount of drivers at Troy, like, this will be my 30th year running, but the guys that have run Troy, I mean, I never even thought about winning 15 years ago because I was just getting my tail kicked. And I really didn't care. I just wanted to go out there and hit somebody at 40 mile an hour. But, I mean, all the drivers that ran Troy are drivers who are running a lot of these big shows. Chad Rhodes, DMP, All-Star Troy, Kyle Puddlewitter. I mean, he used to ran my compact out there. He about killed me in that thing, but now he's
Hold on, this
top.
is another big car guy that just admitted he's ran compact.
I ran one compact.
One? Mm-hmm. And it was like, fuck this.
I didn't know any better. We built it like a big car, put the cage on the inside of the car, and my brother's 6'4" and 300 pounds, and we filled that entire car, and we got hit, and he broke his ribs, and I ran all the classes that night because I wanted to run all 3 classes. I built a stock car, and then I ended up, I don't know if I won or took second or something, but my car was fine, so I took it out there in the street stock class, and I would have placed money in that thing too, but I turned it off because it never even really had a chance to cool down.
We've said this. What he does in the summer is what most sane people don't even attempt. You run Troy, Montgomery City, St. Charles.
Yeah, and Warrenton
County.
Before all 3 of those.
Warrenton first, usually at the beginning of the year, and then isn't there
No, every weekend in
one?
July there's 4 of them.
There's 4 of them right in a row, and he does not miss any of them, and you haven't missed.
My wife loves it.
Oh man, I wish I could be at the house when she's listening to this and watch you get kicked in the junk.
She's like, do not bring my name up.
He said my wife.
She knew that was going to happen.
But now,
because I happened to be standing by him at Bristol whenever she called. And he's like, take your hoodie off.
She's like, I'm going over to talk to them guys right now. I was like, take that damn hoodie off.
Oh.
She's
love you,
passionate.
Casey. But now, you've watched Chase starting the Power Wheels and running the stock classes that he's running with you now. And now you've got little E, you've got Everett running all the Power Wheels.
Mm-hmm. And he's a little wheeler.
He is.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the look of determination.
We talked about that. I've never saw a kid in a Power Wheel that was actually focused.
Serious.
Mm-hmm.
Serious.
Serious about it.
Knows what he's going to do, where he's going to go next.
Well, you see him
as
out
long
there.
as he doesn't eat a steering wheel when it comes off in his hand.
You see the kids out there driving in circles. And that's not him.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And then he broke steering. It might have been at Troy.
At Troy.
And then I was like, keep going. I was like, sometimes you got to drive without steering. So he went out there and drove the rest of the race. And, of course, he's like all of us, spinning the wheel, trying to get it to turn or whatever. And
You've got your hands full with that one, dude. I'm just throwing that out there. You've got your hands full. Because if I was a betting man, there's some youth stuff that's coming around 8 to 10 years old now.
I seen,
Border Wars, I think it's 10 to 14.
I told my wife, I was like, Rob Baker's got a class 10 to 14. And I was like, here in a few years, me and Everett's just going to sneak off to Adele, Iowa so he can run the youth class.
And leave you at home, Casey.
Right.
She would kill you.
Right.
Now we do have to tell Dale that we are gonna slide out to Utah next year, and because he keeps getting mad because we don't invite him. You're 100% invited to go with us.
Sounds good.
Now,
Justin's been pestering me to come out there.
But if you go with us, you're probably gonna get put to work.
That's fine.
There's a guy right down the road that he wants to run the state fair show.
Right.
You might as well go too.
Right. When's that?
September.
Yeah,
It was September 15th.
Justin and Chunk were when you come out there and run Heber, but that's the last weekend in July, and that's Wentzville, which is kind of like my other.
Yeah.
That's where everybody local comes to watch me run or whatever.
Yeah.
But September.
If all this shit on Facebook keeps taking off like it has been with me talking to Brad and all those guys, I'm going to end up in a car at Heber.
There's already one available, and we talked the other day that
he said I could have it. He said he will drag it there. All I got to do is show up and bring it home and jump in it.
Which
I'm going to.
It's 80s
Mopar.
Mopar. So yeah, you're gonna junk it.
At least I know how to drive them.
Yeah. I still have my
it's wide open forward.
I have my Vegas car built for 2019, the show that COVID canceled, or whatever year that was. The next spring Vegas show.
So it would have been 20, I believe.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, because I had a car built to run out there, and of course they canceled it like a month before.
Which Justin had one built as well,
right?
Because I almost I was this close to just buying it and being like, "Hey, I'm gonna be out there."
Right.
Will it get into the state fair? He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, my wife's gonna fucking kill me," but because he wasn't out of line on that price.
Hell
no, not at all.
Because that was a cherry bitch.
Because they saved me because they originally had a date, and then they tried to eventually tried to push it off a month or whatever. I would have had a hell of a time making that first one. I would have made it, but I was like, thank you.
Well, and let's talk about that. Dale was one of the guys that had some misfortune on the road to Bristol.
Oh.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it.
Well, he told me that I needed to give Bill the shout out.
Yes,
which
Bill
we were
Miller,
going
which
to
we
anyway.
did. Yeah.
But now he's got the opportunity. So we'll let you take the mic on this one.
We left that morning and had a
I thought I was
blowout.
gonna catch him.
I had a blowout about 5 miles from the house, and I noticed the trailer was a little overloaded, but seemed like she was all right. So we just went back to the shop, changed a tire, put another spare together, and then met Dylan and Kate on the way down there. They waited for us. They waited on the side of the road for about 3 hours, and thankfully they did, because then we got over in Illinois, and tires were starting to smoke. Those axles that car weighed about 5,600 pounds, I think. And then we had a blowout, and I had another spare, so we put it on there and then went up to the next exit. And I didn't know anybody around there, and we were calling everybody, and Dylan Oliver, who knows everybody, got a hold of Bill, and long story short, he's like, come to my house, take my trailer. I knew the guy for about 30 seconds of my life, gives me his $15,000 trailer. He's like, it's full of promotions. We use it for our promotions. And he's like, take out what you need, make whatever you want. And we pulled out enough stuff to fit my car in there and took off.
That right there shows the good people in this sport.
Right.
Well, it shows that there is still people that give a shit.
Right.
You know, the help your neighbor, that stuff right there. Like that's the shit that it kind of restores your faith
in humanity.
Yes,
And
100%.
he helped Dalen Brown a couple
Yes.
days before that get down there.
They put a new axle
Yeah.
under a trailer.
Yep.
If I could have found axles, we were going to do that to mine. Then I was like, what do I owe you? He's like, you don't owe me nothing. Just make it down there. And I was like, we're still 500 miles from Bristol. And we left him a little cash and everyone got back or whatever. But can't thank that guy enough. Without him, I would have still made it down there. My partner, George, and Anthony were still coming, but I think they were still working on the car. Didn't even think about painting it yet, and come through about 12 hours later. Where I was going to have another truck and trailer come up there and meet us and just swap everything over.
Yeah.
But I would have made it down there. I wouldn't have left George hanging. But
Well, no, that's the thing. National level events, we've seen George at one. Whiskey
Right.
City.
Yeah.
You know, first time he went to Street Stock, Whiskey City. More of a build than he's probably ever done.
is that when he disappeared?
That's the weekend that he disappeared, yes.
Well, no, he ran a big show before
He
that.
ran Whiskey City twice.
Yes. Because he took
The
the
white
filthy
car.
car.
Yep.
The first time.
Yep. That's
The
right.
controversy.
Yes. So how did you and George get hooked up to go to
Yeah, fucking
Bristol.
George beat me to the punch is what happened.
Yeah.
and I don't give a fuck what anybody says. That's exactly what happened.
George called me up one day and said, asked me if I was interested in running Bristol and what class I'd want to run. And I told him that
Which that was before they made it a complete team deal.
Right.
Like nothing, like it wasn't all, whenever they were first talking about it, or especially, whenever everybody was calling Dale.
Right.
When I say everybody, it's me and George. But they hadn't made the stock class what it was yet.
Right. And he said, asked if I wanted to be his partner, and Rob Hewer gave my name, and thought we'd make a good pair, go down there together, and can't thank him enough. He gave me a lot of tips. That was my first 98-02, yeah, George is awesome. Went down there and had a blast, and
he didn't get lost.
right.
Nobody searched for him for 14 hours. down
True
there.
that. Which it's hard to get lost in Bristol.
Right.
It's this big. And if nobody can see this, but all I've done is put my fingers and thumb
A
together.
little bit bigger of a chew can.
Yeah. But like, because I called Dale and I was like, hey, they just made the stock class a team show. He's like, I've already told somebody. I was like, man, fuck George.
Well, then, like before that, I told him straight up, I was like, the reason I don't run a lot of team shows or I don't have a pit crew to take down there with me. My brother used to go around with me. He went to Vegas and stuff with me, but he's got a job where he can't leave like he used to. My one buddy that helps me can't take off. So I was like, it's going to be me, Casey, and Everett, and I'm hoping Chase can make it.
Yeah.
And so, like, literally, I called him up about a month before signups, and I was like, hey, I think I'm out. And he's like, no, you're good. He's like, I understand. And then about a week before, we started talking again. Then I was back in. I was like, man, I just can't do it. I just don't have the pit crew. And he called me up. He's like, I have 5 or 6 guys that's going to come down there with us and help us out. And he's like, I just need you to bring one of your builds. And
Well, that's the thing about down there. You had, I'm not even saying Georgia's 5 or 6 guys. There was 30 dudes down there that you personally knew that would help you with anything you needed.
Well,
Right.
especially whenever they were talking about making our class one and done, and theirs was still going to be heats. Well, he had our guys at that point.
Right.
Like, which, I mean, I'm not saying that we had, the biggest fucking crew down there, but I guarantee you that T's guys would have went and helped.
Right.
And then, it was me and Daniel. You had the support if need be.
And then, George was prepared. We were prepared for heats. I mean, I brought everything to build a car. He brought everything to build a car. And then
I took the whole fucking shop with me.
he brought,
I looked like Sanford and Sons going down there because I don't have it enclosed. We had a 20-foot car trailer, and I had a complete rear axle up front, 8 tires. We had a torch setup, a welder,
Spindles, control arms.
arms, tie rod ends.
Everything but a motor.
Everything but a motor.
Right.
Because I even had an extra tranny.
Yeah.
The only thing that was going to put me out was if I torched that motor. And I don't know that it would have because I was already invested enough. There were some motors for sale down
Right.
there.
That's what I brought. I told the wife, she's like, it's like, yep, whatever I don't have, I'll buy down there because it'll all be for sale.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll buy whatever it takes to get. I'm just letting you know now.
And I used the vendors, like, because I blew that tire out going up, to the tech line.
Yeah, on that 7
the,
mile.
the 8.5 mile fucking. I might as well drove back to Paris and teched. It was bad, wasn't it?
And I mean, George was prepared. I mean, they brought the Bobcat with the
Dude,
tow
that
rig.
might have been the coolest fucking
Right.
thing I've ever seen.
I couldn't wait to use it.
Whenever they come out there, Anthony come out and got my car because I didn't have any steering.
Right.
And everybody was like, what the fuck just hooked onto your car? And I'm like, that was an Anthony Stark thing. Like,
It was badass.
dude, I
A
told
tow truck boom on a fucking skid steer, dude.
Right.
it wasn't just that though. There was like a fucking dozer blade in front of
Right.
it. Like
Well,
this fucking thing. If you
Well,
would
for a
have,
drop plate.
oh dude,
That's
yes,
what it
if
was.
you would have changed your car,
Holmes
like,
440 bed on it.
yeah, I told my cousin Daniel that was with me. I told him I was like, dude, if we have to pull this car down or out or whatever, I said Anthony's shit will pull his car in half,
Right.
and it would have. Like you could have manipulated whatever you wanted, dude. It was built to pull sideways, forward,
Right.
45,
Yeah.
whatever you wanted, because it had enough. It had hook points and shit all over. It was crazy.
It was cool.
He's like, oh, I just threw that together. I'm like, fucking Anthony. Like, yeah, he did. I'm not shitting you. That was the explanation. I was like, dude, what is this? He's like, oh, I just had some stuff laying around, threw it together. I'm like, this isn't something you just throw together, Anthony.
That's the same explanation I got. You should copyright it and sell it.
No
Everybody
shit.
would buy it.
Oh, dude. Well, like, it's a mobile frame machine.
Right.
Because everybody's got a skid loader with auxiliary hydraulics now.
Yep.
And that's all it takes to run it.
And not everybody wants to take a frame rack with them.
You don't have to with that.
Yeah.
All you need is a trailer that you can chain a car down to.
As long as you've got hook points.
Yeah,
you're
because they
good.
towed my car back home. When they went down there, they towed George's Malibu, his car, and a skid loader on the back of the semi. And on the way home, I knew I had to get my trailer from Bill's house back to my house. So George ended up driving his car home, and
Yeah.
I took the golf cart and put it in my enclosed and met Anthony coming back through Forest L, which he had a hell of a time making it back because he had 2 blowouts about Nashville. I met him about 6 o'clock in the morning the next day.
So let's just jump right into it. 2025, holy fucking shit, I can't even believe we're saying this. 2025 is among us.
Yes, it is.
What you got planned, dude?
Still pretty open.
See that? No. There's that secretive shit coming around.
I'm running every weekend in July. Warrenton, Troy, Montgomery, Wentzville.
We already knew that, Dale.
We're looking for somewhere to run our Bristol cars. So that might... we got a couple places in mind, maybe. Or I might bring it to... If I don't run anywhere this spring, I might bring it to Troy and run like a street stock and a bone stock.
Okay, so let's talk about that because, what Steven took to Bristol, that build is completely different than anything really around here. On a pre-run aspect, because his shit bent so much, he can't have enough plates. Mm-hmm. But it's not enough car to move up. How much difference between your Bristol car, which is a street stock in air quotations, compared to any other show like around your house
It's
that you
fucked
can
up.
run?
Yeah,
It's
it's
completely
totally
fucked
different.
up.
I'd have to cut it apart to make it weaker or whatever to run, which kind of sucks. Or I almost ran. I was going to try to run Bill Miller's show the following Saturday once we got back because his rules were pretty close to it, where I could actually add a little bit to it, and probably wouldn't. The problem is it's so far one way on some things and so far the other. So it's not going to compete
I'm
wherever
going
it
to throw
goes.
my
but I'm
2
going to run
cents
it.
in on this. They would almost work for the Lucky Sevens. like their kind of cleanup-ish show where they allow the people without braces to run kickers, you know, and the guys with braces, you know, it would almost work for one of their loose shows, and that's air quotations again, because I kind of talked to like Henry, Ray, and stuff, because you know those guys a lot of times they don't run trainee braces because they're running some fucking off-breed Mopar
82
5-speed, you know, some shit like that. And again, not cutting you down, I commend you for doing what you're doing, but you know, like they called Tommy and was like, hey man, how the fuck are we supposed to do this? You know, we can't lock our shit without breaking everything. And you know, Tommy was like, here, I think we've figured it out. And you just got one, you know, two kickers is what you got. But
You didn't get all the kickers.
no, but you got
You got one to each rail, and that's where you got. Yes.
But you take that, I mean, that stiffening that up where you don't, you know, blow the fucking.
Because I wore the ass end of my car out. I mean, my front end.
I was yelling at you.
Made
all.
no hits.
I was yelling at you.
I was
all
yelling
a
at
little
both
bit.
of you through the television. Spin that motherfuckers around.
I was yelling. I can't wait to get George on here. As soon as he slows down just a touch, we're gonna get him up here so I can tell him the same thing I'm about to tell you. I was standing up against the fence, like wanting to run out there and be like, "Turn these motherfuckers around, you guys!
Well,
you have the best looking shit out here. Neither one of your all's front ends have moved."
If I would have, if I would have known, I watched the show and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. Why didn't I turn this? But we got
I
down.
can see it.
We got down to, there was 4 to go. Well, I had us in third. And then I looked around at those black cars and I was like, and then Jake Harris from Ohio was hung on the wall and we were kind of running with him. And I went ahead and knocked him loose, which was a horrible idea outside the car. But inside the car, I had it played out completely different.
Correct.
And
You lost a teammate who was tied up in a big pile of bullshit. You had a guy you were running with. So
And then-
you're like, if this is, now we're going to fucking go. Now I'm getting a teammate.
because I really didn't know inside the car, I thought Mad Mike was running with those guys,
Right.
which he wasn't. And if I had known that, me and Mad Mike have ran together in Vegas, Freedom
Right.
Hall, and everywhere. And I wasn't real sure. I was just trying to figure out.
Oh, I
who's
know.
on
You
what.
don't know how bad I wanted you to pull over there where I was at. And I was just going to be like, damn, fucking
Yeah.
turn around.
What you got to do is that one time.
Yeah.
Hand gestures of a circle with a finger.
Because I was doing it to George, but I was finally like flipping him off.
Well, as soon as I got knocked Jake off the wall, I was like, it's time to turn this thing up because one of the black cars missing a passenger front wheel, and Mike didn't have very good steering. I was like, my front end's unused. I was like, this is be perfect. And I was like, if Jake could just stay on one of them guys to where I could get over here, and no sooner I was about ready to turn it up to 10, stupid car died. Fuel pump wire come off the toggle switch, and it was inside my valve cover, and I knew was some kind of wiring issue with power going to the fuel pump because all the lights and then the fuel pump light was off. But there was no way to get into it inside the car. I'm checking everything. I was like, I opened the battery box. I was like, man, it's all still hooked up.
So he just said that. Here's kind of what we've talked about, different shit going on in the shop. So what Dale does, all his wiring and switches are encased in a valve cover that he has fabricated, enclosed into a box.
Yep.
We've seen guys, Denton has got like a fucking almost a job box that's in the passenger floor.
Well, and yeah, I mean, dude, I have watched guys. I don't know why we haven't talked about this before. Because we've touched on switch boxes and how different people do housekeeping and shit. I've seen a whole ass like a utility panel for a house. Mm-hmm. You know, an electrical box because a lot of times they're fucking waterproof.
Yep.
And shit like that. Like I've seen that in these cars, and it's really badass to see what everybody does to make that stuff work. And then you got guys like me that's just like,
Well, before I had the fancy little switch panel I would just drill holes in the valve cover and had different switches for everything. And then I think it was May of 2015. I was like, I don't want to be reaching up in front of the steering wheel to hit my starter button. So that's when I started mounting it on the floor next to my seat. And then it worked out even better because then you just tuck all your wires. All your wires can be wadded up inside that valve cover. But now
that's why I like the switch box that I run, because it's big enough that I just like the way it's set up.
The valve cover is retired now because I called Cy up.
Yeah.
Got a couple of his boxes and
the F&A switch box.
Well, here's the part that I didn't talk
They're
about.
clean. I mean, they are.
When I went to Utah, because again, Steven didn't go. Dick. They are implementing, it's going to blow your mind. Light switches.
Yep.
That is their toggle switches.
Yep. I've rode in a car,
I don't like it.
a mini
I don't
car that
either,
had light
but-
switches in there.
But
Yeah,
yeah, you
the
just reach up and
motherfuckers I've
just go
seen fail in a house.
Yep.
Right.
Flip, flip, flip. Well, how many switches have you ever seen in a switch box that went to fuck brand new?
Yep.
A starter button, a master kill switch, a fuel
They're
pump
not buying the
switch.
right switches.
And I don't like the twist wires, which I know it's like fail proof, but
It's still not fail proof.
right.
No, because you know how many
That
times
some
I've
bitch
been
can burn
burnt by
up
that
somewhere
shit?
else
Right.
in there.
Mm-hmm.
Farther down. And
Yeah,
like
the
still
motherfucker jumps loose and grounds out on your cage. Then you've got issues.
you see sparks and shit flying. What is that?
You're going to have stupid shit happen.
Right.
You know that. I really didn't want it to happen to you all because you were there.
Yeah. Like I said, I had it all played out in my mind. I was like,
You had it played out.
I was
Fuck,
like,
I felt
where's-
like I was in the car. I was like, turn this motherfucker around.
I was getting bored for the first 30 minutes. But
Well,
everybody
that's
says,
because you all were, dude, they were leaving you all alone.
right, yep. We, and everybody complained about that small track when I was going backwards, shoving that purple wagon. I was like, man,
not as small
it's
as
not
what
as small as it looks. I was like, I'm looking out the back, and I was like, we still got a ways to go. And
No, because I got rocked by one of them 03s in my class, and I was like, this track's not that small. Because I'm almost in the passenger side right now.
because I had enough speed, if I didn't let off or hit the brakes right before we got to the end, I was going around
You
wall
were going with them.
Yeah.
Because once I felt him go, I just put her to the wood and let her eat.
Oh, yeah.
But that was like my only excitement of watching it.
They, you know how frustrated they were with you. Like, because they were like, this motherfucker got, son of a bitch.
They, but I liked it because it was, we were on the one end of the track towards the center, but the other end of the track was going ape shit. And on this end of the track was like everybody's making tactical hits.
Yeah.
Down there.
They're full sending that bitch on the other end.
Yeah,
and
Derek
I
Fault,
was
last
hollering at
time,
television. I
went-
said, do not go down there, boys.
So I went down and started to go down there. I looked at their cars, and their front ends are up in the air. And then one guy, the two local guys, their cars were freaking junked. And I was like, shit, where do you get back down here? This end play.
Well, and what I really liked about Bristol and the track and everything that was set up, and honestly, the caliber driver that was down there, is that was the most fun I'd had on a track because I got to drive.
Right.
I wasn't having to watch for a kamikaze driver. Yes, there was two out there. I got the better end of that deal.
Yeah. Well, Jake Harris's buddy had the Imperial, and he was going out there. Luckily for everyone else, he got hung on the wall.
Right.
Or else that thing would have went around and cleaned house.
Until somebody cleaned his fucking suspension off.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And that's the thing. I've seen you take some weird shit. I'm not going to say I haven't. Was it Blizzard Bash last year or Capitol Carnage last year? You took some 77.
I took that Chevy Caprice, 77
Yes.
Caprice. I just wanted to do something different, and it was a car stripped out. It's really the only reason I did it, but I really wanted to do something different. So because I like running stuff outside the box, and then like that car was working out great until somebody
did.
come across with front bumper 4 foot in the air and then shoved the ass into the ground.
I'm not a metric GM fan.
I ran nothing but GMs up until 2016
I'm almost positive that I backed into the dirt
It
at
did.
Bristol
It did. I watched it.
and bent the fucking hump.
I watched it go down. As soon as you didn't even hit the wall hard. You just touched it, and I watched it go.
I was like, what the fuck? And that car was clean as shit.
Yep.
And then I started running Fords, I guess 2016, 17, or 2016 Blizzard Bash was my first Ford I've ever ran. And then old Jeff Jett talked to me, and he's like, you need to run this Ford. And I tried it, and I was like, these things are awesome.
We're going to take us a little commercial break. We'll be right back with you.
Since Justin has been on board with us at Hard Nose, we have figured out how much Broadhead Decals means to the sport of demolition derby. His great quality parts are seen from coast to coast and everywhere in between.
But he can do more than just derby products. Your everyday business may need some pep in its step with new banners or stickers. And just give him an idea and let him run with it. Whether it's business related or just want to look badass in the winner circle, let Broadhead Decals work for you.
We do. Triple B's Tees offer custom shirts and logo designs for all your apparel and merchandise needs, offering a variety of shirts, hats, hoodies, tumblers, and koozies. Triple B's will work with you one-on-one to personalize and perfect your logo. With over 5 years in the business, 20 years in the sport, they live for Demolition Derby.
Chunk and his crew can bring your imagination to realization with zero limitations. So for all your badass tees, choose Triple B's. So you said right there, you didn't run a Ford until 16. But until 2024, you had never run a 9802.
Yeah.
So you've run the 91s
Well, he
to
was
the
running,
97s.
it was all square. It was
Yeah.
pretty much just square body.
Yeah.
80 to 95s. I bought two 95s. I don't know why. Not a fan of them. They all bend funky. And the square ones, I kind of got them figured out. They all kind of been the same. I mean, they're totally different between gusset and non-gusset. But every time I run something newer, I always get a weird bend up in the front every freaking time.
We'll say
Because that's where
your
I
Bristol
actually
car had no weird bend.
no. Well, that's where I actually got to talking to Dale. Was out of Blizzard Bash whenever we ran.
Yep.
Out there, I think it was 18.
Yep. Somewhere in there.
Yeah,
Y'all were just worried about Cody Meyer fucking your all's front suspension up. That's all
that's
y'all.
100% correct. Whenever I seen he was out, I was like,
Yeah, here we go.
now we can do stuff.
Yeah, I think I ran it down to 6th that year. I'm like a 6th place machine there.
Dude, I was so frustrated. I burnt that tranny up. Dude, my car was golden. Like, I was so pissed off.
Okay, right there. We just talked about Blizzard Bash. How do you foresee all these changes that they're making? I mean, you see the stuff too.
I don't like they took our stock class away.
Me neither.
And all these shows, I mean, they always run it at Blizzard Bash. It was never Capital City Carnage thing.
No, but it was the first fucking class to, I mean,
Sold out like
guaranteed it was
6
going to be
seconds.
sold out.
Right, yep. Which is crazy because the one year at Blizzard Bash, a few people from Ultimate Derby called me. He's like, hey, you know anybody? We still got openings in this class. And I got on the phone and called 20, 30 people. And then the next year, from then on out, it just like sold out in 12 seconds or whatever. And this year I got in because I was on the waiting list. And which I totally forgot that I
That you were on the
agreed
waiting
to a
list.
spot. Well, Candace called me. She's like, "Do you want the spot?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" So I got her paid and taken care of in like a minute. Well, then I totally forgot about it, and a week later I was talking to somebody, or a couple weeks later, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm running Blizzard Bash too." And Casey's like, "You're running?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I promise I forgot this one."
I was going to say, because I think I got a Snapchat of you rolling another car into the shop and said she's really happy right
yeah.
now. And you didn't even have to mention it. I knew who exactly you were talking about. So how hard is it, dude, to run the amount of shows that you do run in a year with work, with side hustle, with wife, with kids, and all of it.
Well, after after running 4 weekends in a row, I decided to take the first week of August off, and then I kind of got lazy and took 2 weeks off, and then I got into a mess. I pulled a car in. I was going to bring a 73 Chevy down there. Found a rust hole in the frame. Well, there was no rust repair, and so that one rolled out. I ended up getting a 9802, rolled it in there. Car is like brand new, perfect black. Get behind the driver's rail in the rear and stick my finger through the frame. So that car that I stripped out and rolled out, and then I brought in, and then I was going to do a hybrid and put a 73 body on a 76 frame. So I started working on that, and then found a spot on that frame I didn't like. So ended up calling Jeremy Baker, and he bailed me out with a 9802 and just went with that route. But during that time of picking a car, I mean, I wasted 2.5, almost 3 weeks. So the month of September, I was
busting ass
or whatever. And then after Bristol, I took a week off, and then was trying to get
full tilt again.
Trying to get motivated to work on the Blizzard Bash car, and I was like, "Oh, it's only a 3-day build. We got 3 more weekends." And then I started counting down. I was like, "Shit, we got 2 weekends left. It's time to jump on it now."
Yes. Yeah, and I don't think that's which we've said it. People don't realize, how fast time gets away from you. You're like, I got plenty of time. Pimping him. You got 42 days. You've got 35 days. You have 28 days.
Yeah, I was listening.
You've got 14 days.
He was giving me plenty of shit. Yeah.
Every time T would post, I'd comment on there, "Steven, don't let her down." Then I started thinking, I was like, dang, I hope I don't let George down.
Because we have said it so many times, when it's a team show, it's a team setting, it's a different amount of pressure.
Totally
You
different.
never
Yeah,
want
let's
your team-
get his perspective on that.
Yeah, I mean, being in a team, whatever, I'm not going to be the guy that lets my teammate down. I was like, I don't know how many times you see cars at Blizzard Bash or whatever where a car doesn't make it.
They're building the fucking thing in the parking lot.
Right. Mm-hmm. And there's cars that don't make it, and there is no way in hell I would never not make a freaking derby.
You would feel so shitty to let your teammate down. Now, I'm going to ask, was that your first team show?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Because you've always ran singles.
Yeah.
If you let yourself down, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, I didn't get it done. Why didn't you finish it? Well, I ran out of time.
Right.
Well, yeah, and I'll take the bullshit from everybody, like, "Oh, hey, what the fuck, Steven?" Like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't do it."
I thought you were going to run Salisbury. I thought you were going to run Madison. Well, you know what? Shit happens.
Yeah,
because I got asked to run on a Gold Rush team last year on the first one on a stock class or whatever, and I was like, I could get a car and get it there. I just don't have the pit help to bring with me, which I know I could make a Facebook post and say, "Hey, I need some help at Gold Rush," and get 10 guys to meet me out there. But I just didn't want to commit to that with not bringing guys with me and let somebody down.
Well, and we've talked about this before. Dude, you're talking a different level of expense.
Right.
Because if you ask somebody to come work on your car,
you're feeding them. You're housing them. You're
unless you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. Correct.
I got a buddy that helps me all the time. Dave Meyer comes to the shop, helps me all the time, and he'll stay there till 3 a.m. with me. And my brother does it too. We painted cars with the sun coming up to run. I painted one after inspection a few years ago at Troy.
Well, I mean, that's like, my cousin, whenever we took him down there, I was like, yeah, tell your wife or your fiance, I was like, bring her with us. I was like, I'll pay for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Treat it like a vacation when we're not having to work on this thing. Like, get with it. Whatever y'all want to do, we'll go out and eat, whatever. Because you've got to do, you have to do that. You're obligated to do that.
Because the guys are missing work, missing paycheck. And
yeah, I mean, he took, however fucking long we were gone. Yeah. All that vacation.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing that I think why so many people, we hit on it the other day. Capital Carnage. Street stock, 4-man show. The rest of it is one and dones. Mm-hmm. Maxes, guess what? You don't got to work on that piece of shit.
I love a one and done.
Me too. I was
Whenever
happy as hell down at Bristol.
They're like, oh, you guys aren't running
You
on Friday.
have
You're running
no
on
clue.
Saturday.
Dude, I was fighting for it. Well, you seen me. I was running around politicking like a bitch. I'm like, guys, here's 2 handies. Like, this is what you all want to do.
Which we were prepared to run heat races. That's why we moved into track at Friday night, because we got there Wednesday night or whatever. I left truck and trailer inside, and then we had to go park 7 miles away at the freaking drag strip. And well, then you talked on a previous episode of how are we going to get our cars from track, because they originally wanted us to run Saturday first thing, run heat races, and then run again. I was like, shit, it's going to take us over an hour just to get the car from the track.
You're being generous with that.
And
that's
he's
the
like,
best case scenario.
Yeah, we can just we'll bring truck and trailers, load them up. I was like, we got a semi and an enclosed. And then he's like, oh, we got a trailer. And well, then there's a few other guys that had 40-foot goosenecks and everything else, loaded it and set up at pit. So, I mean, that idea was not going to work at all.
And like I said, they didn't have anything in there that would get that car out.
Right, yeah.
There's a main difference. If you can haul it with a skid steer 100 yards or 3 miles.
I'd be okay with that. Like, if you could have drug it back to my truck.
Yeah.
But you were going to have to wait in line. And I drove a skid loader up there. It was not a 5-minute trip back to the track.
Yeah, it's literally a 10-minute idle when your derby car drive from the drag strip up around everything. And then
I blew a fucking tire out.
So, yeah, we just moved in, pit inside. So I was like, we come off the track, we're going to be right here. We got Ant's skid loader, get our cars over here. And we just set up in the middle of turn 3 over there or whatever.
And so being that was your first team show, are you looking forward to having an opportunity like that again?
Yeah, for sure. I've already talked to George, and he's got some ideas in the works. And we'll I'll definitely run Bristol again. I'd like to go back down there and try it one more time.
I keep talking shit on it. Like, I've already asked T. I'm waiting on her to get back with me. Like, I'd probably go do it one more time. I want to do it because I was so close.
That's the way we were. So freaking close. I mean, I had that fuel pump wire. I guarantee 1 or 2.
Without her bad luck, like, we were for sure third.
Right.
Like, we had third locked down.
Because I had third locked down until I gave it away.
Because like I was 4 minutes away from having third on my own.
Bitch, you were not. Well, you were 4. I told you were 45 seconds from having fourth, and that would have got you a check.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I was so close to it by myself. So if I would have had my teammate out there, like, we were there. Like, we had the fucking cards for it.
Yeah.
When we went down there, my initial thing was I was like, I just want to compete, make the feature. And then once we got out there, I was like, shit, we got a chance. We can win this damn thing. I was like, of course, Blizzard Bash is the only thing I haven't cashed a check in like 3 years.
Well, that's like everything. Like, as everything was lining up to what we were doing, and whenever I seen the cars that showed up and shit, I actually pulled T aside. I was like, man, I was all down for just coming down here and having fun. I said, I'm gonna fucking drive.
Right.
I was like, after looking at everybody's shit, I said, yeah, there's a couple of 03s out here that I'm worried about. I was like, but other than that, like, I'm
didn't
comfortable.
know I knew I knew I built a good car. Of course, when you're down there, you're looking at everybody else's car. I was like, oh shit, I need to stay away from this guy. And then went through like the whole class, like those purple wagons. I was like, I need to stay away from them suckers. I was like, dang, I'm just gonna be out here in survival mode. And then, like I said, then it all played out. Cars started dropping.
Well, dude, that's kind of what I thought. And then I told Derek this. I was like, man, because he called me, a couple times while we were down there. I was like, man, this fucking class is stacked with 03s. I was like, I'm worried about it. He's like, man, keep your nose clean. They won't be able to steer.
Right.
You're right. Well, they gave me the opportunity to drive like I wanted to. Well, as these cars started falling, dude, I'm watching these guys come up to me and their steering wheels spinning.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, okay, here we go. Well, then the red, white, and blue cars that I was real worried about, motherfucker rolls up to me, and I watched him. He dropped on the front end and went to back up. I was like, okay, that's one less of those that I got to worry about. Well, then all I'm watching for is wedge trunks, you know,
Yep.
where they beat them in, you know, before we went out, because we got to do a little bit of shit, you know, since we were one and done. And I'm like, fuck, man, I've got a real chance to to podium this shit.
Yep.
Which we haven't talked about really. Not a little bit, I guess we have. Like Steven's class, they had a low amount of teams. Your all's class, they had a lower amount of teams. Because we even said, I think there is those guys that aren't going to go because they want to see how it was the first year.
Yeah.
They want to hear about tech. They want to watch the show.
They wanted to see what the fuck showed up.
Correct. So I'm telling y'all right now, y'all can mark my word and paint my ass black.
Oh, it'll be full
It'll be
next year.
fucking
next year.
stupid.
And I'm good with
Until I
that
find
because now I know what I need to take.
I'm fine because it was a great tech. I mean, anywhere that there is a legit tech, I feel like I can get up there. Like, there's a couple shows I ran this year that was slacking on the tech.
Well, I think that tech this year, or the next year at Bristol, I think for my class will look different.
I think rules need to be some gray the fuck out of there.
Yep.
Because you really did. You had a lot of gray areas.
Well, yeah, dude, and I built a legitimate car. I really did.
Yeah, because you was like, there's no way I'm going to get a stick first time. And what happened?
You know,
You got a stick first time.
Well,
You know,
and shouldn't have.
correct. Yeah,
Like, you know just as well as I do, there's no way I should have had a stick.
correct. So I think that's
yeah, I was like, all the national shows, as long as
Robbie listens to this, and he's going to be like, what the fuck did he do?
they set it up the best way because, like, you all had Robbie as your all's inspector. We had Michael Ambergy from Kentucky, and then Zaire and Austin were over the other two classes. Where Blizzard Bash, you have the same guys looking at all them
every
cars.
car.
And I know that Robbie don't like the old filler class, but we're just a filler class at Blizzard Bash. They don't give two shits about the bone stock class up there.
What was cool
And
as shit?
our freaking, I won't even say it. Our tech wasn't. Some of them cars were built to a different set of rules, I feel. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's a bone stock class. I mean,
you're just saying what everybody else don't have the balls to
Right.
say.
And you're talking at Bash?
I have clear things in text that I'm told not to do that 15 other cars did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we talked about this whenever we both went to Bash, you know, whatever year I ran out. I think it was 18.
Yeah.
It was.
But we both talked about that. Like, there was some shit that was done, and I'm like, why the fuck did I not do that?
Right.
Because they told me I couldn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Blizzard Bash needs a separate inspector to go over the hobo cars. Or
100%.
not the guys looking at the national cars because they don't.
Because
They need to focus on those.
You know, I took the Mopar with the Mopar motor and shit.
Mm-hmm.
No lower cradle, which I was good with that. But I took the fucking bumper brackets off of it because of the rule. And then I pull up and see a Ford.
Bumper brackets.
Yeah, I'm like, well, why the fuck did I take that off?
Yeah. Yeah, and then
I think
that's
the
where
pro-
I think Demo hit a home run with just having the different groups of inspectors for
You
each
want to know
class.
why? You want to know why that works? Robbie, that's mostly what he runs.
Yes.
Okay. Zur, when he goes to Blizzard Bash or Capital
Yeah.
Carnage, what's he's running?
Yeah,
he's
he's
not
running
running a fucking
national
hobo
show.
class. He's running all the weld.
Right. And another thing that I really liked, and I bet Dale can contest to this, dude, our fucking head techs fought for our classes.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Just as hard as the national guys were getting fought for. Like, whenever we were in the driver's meeting, they're like, hold the fuck up.
Right.
Y'all are going to listen because we're talking about
Yeah.
the pro stock and the stock elite right now. Like, we're not done.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, Robbie would go to fucking war, you know, if we brought something up that needed to be done or, you know, we didn't feel like, you know, that they were taking us, you know,
Serious.
quotation serious.
Yeah.
And they're like, motherfuckers, these dudes paid their money to come run on this track. Like, this is how we're doing this shit.
And then when they pushed us to Saturday, I mean, I understood 100% that.
I did too,
you
but our
have to
techs were
right.
mad about
Boy,
it.
Yeah,
your
man.
bride didn't understand.
Yeah. But them guys run for $100,000, and
Right.
them guys, you have to run because if you move any of those pro or pro light teams, whatever they were.
Yeah.
I remember moving them to Saturday. That's a huge competitive disadvantage or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
They're the
especially
big
for
money or
their
whatever.
repair time.
Right.
And I understood it too, but you had Robbie
didn't
in
like
there
it.
like, no, Robbie was like, what the fuck?
Right.
You know?
You give
We
any
promised these guys that we're doing this. Like, that's one thing that I will never cut out from under Robbie. If he puts his name on something,
he stands behind it.
The
You're
same way with
fucking
Michael
angry.
Zaire or whatever. He that guy's 100% on his name, whatever. I mean, he has our local shows. Him and Cody Workmeister, DLS. I mean, that's the most legit tech. I feel like I got a better tech at our local shows than I do half the time.
We'll say that. We had a couple guys from here that went over because of what Troy is used to.
yeah.
Right.
And you see where their
Being,
fucking cars
yeah.
stayed.
And, yeah, they were like, he was like, well,
I mean, my
fuck.
Bristol car would probably get in a couple bone stock with a few of these promoters around here.
Yeah, I think we know what you're talking about. Well,
I'm not gonna say
watched.
no names.
I watched said promoter tell a guy, "Hey, cut those hump plates and change your spindles, and you're good."
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, oh fuck! Like you couldn't get the fucking body into one of my shows. You know what car I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
It's right outside of town.
Cut the hub plates off, put X's in the extra plates, and take your full engine cradle out and just put a lower on it.
Well,
You
no,
can
they
run it.
told him to fucking just take the top off the ski.
The car protector with the header protector?
I'm like, whoa.
What? Hold on. What's this big fucking mid plate you got in here? I don't know what that is. No.
Well, it's just an extension of the front plate.
Yeah, like I said, nothing gets past there. His name's on it. And Austin Johnson, the same way. I mean, they're all friends with everybody in the freaking sport. So they're acquaintances or know
Well, you know,
who they are or whatever.
We've
So
talked about
they're
that. Whenever
100%
we had
legit.
Filthy Promotions, we had to do that.
Right.
Like, yeah, it caused problems with a few of my friendships during the Derby. Mm-hmm. They're like, "What the fuck, man?" And I'm like, we're not friends right now.
Right.
You know me.
Like we're like, and after the show, we can go right back to being buddies. But
We can go to the beer garden and have beer as soon as it's over.
Yeah.
But right now, no,
and
I'm
actually,
going to
I
be a
will
dick.
bring the beer that we opened from the beer garden. I'll come party in the pits. But like right now in this tech line, fuck you.
Yeah.
You're.
I don't know.
That's what I loved about Robbie, though. I mean, because we're gonna get him on here, and I'm gonna pressure his ass into, because the dude is the most passionate person I've ever seen, because he fucking loves this sport.
He does.
Well, you got to talk to him out at King of Ohio. You ought to go out there
King
with
of
us next
Ohio,
year,
South Dakota.
because I'm sure we'll try to make an appearance at that.
Demo 2.
Well, we didn't have to take any work off hardly for that one day.
2. Took off Friday and Monday because the show was Sunday.
Oh yeah, but we could have done it without taking Monday
Fuck
off.
you. I can't sit at that point in time, I couldn't sit in a sprayer and push a button and let it do its shit.
I can't do that shit anymore
I got to
either.
use my brain on Mondays.
You'll be fine.
So, we kind of started a new
Segment.
segment. Where you live, you were very close to some sketchy fucking areas. We're going to say that. And as many cars that you've bought in your 30 years.
We got to tell them what the name of the segment is.
Well, what's the name of the segment?
Tales from the Trailer.
Where do you have a good story on some super sketchy shit that you almost
I have
feared for yourself?
2. None I really feared for myself. Well, one, got this car off Highway J right before you get to Wright City. Everybody knows the area, knows exactly where I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I went over there to meet this guy, and I called him from the old bag phone. This is probably... I was like, hey, I'll be there in about 5 minutes. So I get there and knock on his door. I can hear him in there. And, I knocked at the door, stood there about a few minutes, and then knocked again. I could hear them suckers in there. So I finally was getting aggravated, and I freaking...
Hammered the door.
Hammered the door.
Cop knocked that shit.
Door freaking falls in. It's freaking completely rotted. The freaking guy comes out around the corner, and I got the old tow truck, whatever, and then he's like, "Hey man, the car's right here." And he's like, "You got the cash?" So I give him like $400 for a '73 Impala. I hooked onto it and was out of there within less than 2 minutes before that guy even seen his door. So then I get out there on Highway J, flying back towards Troy, and you go down a big hill, and that car, I hooked it up so quick, that back tire just freaking shot right down past me and went out there a field. That tire lay there on the side in that field or whatever. I mean, I needed that damn tire back then, but it shot across the field that's probably 500 yards wide. And then my other one was back to my mini car. So this was probably 05, 06. I found a Chevy Citation that ran and drove. So then I was like, well, I need to get a couple of these cars to figure it out. And I just come across 3 of them within like a week's time. And called this guy up. He was wanting $1,000 or something. I was like, hey, I know if this thing don't sell, I'll give you $400 for it or whatever. And so it sat for sale forever. And I told him I was restoring it, the Chevy Citation. And so we get up there, me and my buddy, and I'm talking to this guy. He's like, yeah. And that's true because I looked it up. He's like, there's a Citation Lovers website that you can get all these parts on that help you find the parts for your build. About that time, my buddy's ramping this thing on a trailer, just rips the exhaust out of it. He's like, man, you're using this for a derby car, aren't you? I was like, shit, shut up. And then that guy about cried. He's like, well, can I at least have the dash pad? And wanted something else off out of it. I was like, yeah, I am derbying this bitch.
Well, we have. That's the cool part, is because people are starting to send us some stuff. So, Mr. Eric James sent a message.
Okay.
Listener. Circa 2019, I was buying my first demo car. Keep in mind, my first car. 1992 Nissan Stanza. $200, Beloit, Wisconsin. Or it was Illinois. It was right on the border. I show up, car's parked behind dude's house. It runs, drives. I whip it down, block and back. So I ask, can I run the VIN? There's no VIN on the dash. The guy claims he can't find the title. So I call the sheriff's up to run the VIN to make sure it's not stolen. Now this car was used as a TOD car at a racetrack, so it was already gutted. Sheriff pulls up. I swear to God, no shit. Minute I walk up the sheriff's car, maybe 1,000 foot from the road, dude fires off maybe 8 rounds.
Oh, shit.
Obviously, cop throws lights on and dips. At this point, I'm like, whatever, fuck it. I'll load it and go, and I'll go home. He said, took 6 in my first derby with it. Anyways, jump onto the scrapyard. Car has a lien on it. $300 lien on a 92 Nissan. First time I ever had to cut a car up into multiple pieces to scrap it. He said, absolutely will not buy a car without a VIN on it, and searching the VIN. So well, that's some of that sketchy shit we're talking about.
I've got one from
South to West Floor.
Mr. South to West Floor. He goes, all right, story time. I went to Springfield to pick up a mint 01 Camry, $150. I think is what what it was priced at. I get down there. Dude says, pull up to the house, and that's in quotations. Lowe's She Shed Special. So we're talking tiny house here. 18 years old, cracked out, face tats, tweaker. Comes out. We look over the car, he proceeds to give me the title to the car. I make him and his buddy push it on my trailer since it didn't run. Come to find out, he sold me his baby mama's car because he was out of drugs. So he sends a picture. And I mean, we're talking,
yeah.
This thing is, it looks like a
Put
tweaker
a grill on
special.
it.
Oh, yeah. But clean. Well, okay, so this finishes off. It had a kiddie pool as a sunroof cover. plastic and tape on the window, and it smelled like Cheech and Chong in this MFer is what he says. He said all it needed to fix it was a spark plug wire pushed back on, but he found pleasure in making the tweakers push it on his tilt bed trailer because the winch was, in quotations, broke. Oh, do I read the anonymous one? I'm not going to put a name on
Save the
this one.
anonymous one.
Okay.
Save the anonymous one.
We're going to save that one.
That'll be next week.
Because next week we have a voice message call that I will play for you guys. We're going to try to do a couple of these a week. Keep sending them in because it makes my days better.
Well, Jeremy Petty sent over pictures, and I'm going to try to link them. But he goes to pick up a car.
Hold on. No. You got to save it.
Okay, I'll save it. We're going to put some pictures up, and then you will understand
the story behind. Because not only did we say sketchy, but we want to know like the story of trying to get this car out of a 400-acre field. And that was in the fucking holler. You know, we want to hear that shit too. Or the old man that says, "Yeah, I've got this car for sale. It's in his barn. You got to move." 14 pallets worth of tractor parts to get to it.
I have one. This car's been parked it's only been parked about a year and a half. It was a daily driver, and I cut trees 4 inches diameter around past your door to get that sucker out.
That was a quick growing tree.
Yeah. So one thing that I do want to talk to Dale about
is the length of these episodes.
We spoke about Everett. Mm-hmm. Okay. Christmas is coming up.
Yeah.
Casey your bride made a post. Everett is everything Derby.
He is 100% Derby. I mean, my trophies it's trophies we win now, and they all go in his room or what there's room for. So he's got a pile of them in there. But she sent me a thing that Everett was wanting to get autographs for some drivers at Blizzard Bash, and me being in a rush, I didn't take them to do that like I should have, and failed looking back on that. But she made a post asking for people to send pictures of their car and then autograph it, and then that thing's been shared. I think it's up to like 315 times. I mean, Matt and Shane shared it over there in Australia. Mm-hmm. It's been shared all over the country. And I haven't opened any of the packages yet, but we do have a pile. Probably 25 or 30 packages right now that from North Carolina, Massachusetts, Wisconsin, Minnesota. I won't give no names because I don't want to leave people out, but they all over the country right now, and I know we got a few other things coming. We have a possible roof sign coming. Heard some trophies. I know we got a few hats, and then I don't know what all is coming. Like I said, we haven't opened it, so we're just gonna be as surprised as he is. But he truly looks up to all of us like we're NASCAR drivers, and so it's super cool because, like I said, he's super excited. He at Blizzard Bash, he's like, "Dad, we just seen them guys on TV." Well, it was me watching old YouTube or Bristol or something like, 5X, Jonathan Mavis, whatever. He's like, "Your friend just won." I was, he's like, always asks, he's like, "Who all do you know?" And I'll rattle off a bunch of guys I know, and like he's a Team Octane. He's a big fan of them. Like I said, the 5X.
Know a couple of those guys.
Yeah, I know a few of them.
RPM Redemption. He's seen one of them cars. His favorite colors are orange and black, so he's seen one of them. He's like, "Hey, can I go over and give this guy a 5?" And we call it one of the guys, whatever, and he gave a big fist bump, whatever. So
yeah,
he's fired up. And then,
well, you see a lot of these kids that they're into football or baseball or, whatever sport. Well, this is his sport.
Yes.
Right. For sure, 100%. He
That's why I'm pushing so hard, man. I hope these trading card thing, I hope it does what it does. Because that's not the only kid that's out there that will do that.
Oh, no.
Like, the kids that have the big books of baseball cards and shit.
and then like we
My son would be one of them. The 3-year-old upstairs. He loves that shit.
I had some made that are like hero cards, just like it's a postcard, whatever. Got a picture of my car in the front and all the back. Put your sponsors, and I got a bunch of those we used to give out or whatever. But yeah, I mean, he truly thinks that we're all celebrities. And then I took him to a Chiefs game a couple weeks ago. He wanted to tell Patrick Mahomes bye before we left, and we didn't get to do that. But
Pat, deuces, bro.
But yeah, he liked the derbies, whatever, and like we're driving home from Blizzard Bash, or when we were coming home from Bristol, I was like, well, we passed Kyle Puddlewitter and their toter or whatever. He's like, oh, that's awesome. He's like, but he was fired up to see him, like it was like a celebrity or whatever, and
Yeah.
he knows Kyle. He went over and talked to him, and
It's just so awesome. to
Drivers
watch
that
these kids.
listen to this, take that to heart.
Yes. Yeah, there's an old saying used to several years ago outside of like a baseball fence. It had a sign that was printed out and it said, these kids look up to you.
right,
You show, they see what you do. So if you go out and you make a complete dick of yourself on the track after the
Yes,
show,
right.
there's 10,000 kids that are watching you be a complete dick.
And like he-
I would
show.
rather have kids coming up to me while I'm shotgunning beers, took 4th place as a mad dog, than I was the asshole sandbagger that treats people like shit. And I mean that 100%.
because
And those kids see that.
Yeah.
yeah, because like I said, just like when we go to the football game, I got season tickets for the Chiefs, whatever, and Casey always goes with me to games, but Everett can rattle off more players than she can. Same thing at the Derby. He knows about 10 of the drivers on like a 30-car field or whatever. He'll know at least. He's like, Dad, that's your buddy. That's your. And cause I was like, because like I said, we watched Derby on TV, watching Gold Rush or whatever, and he's like, who all do you know out there? And he roots for them guys. And
Because that's a 6-year-old paying attention.
right, yeah.
Well, that's what interests them. That's why the don't get me started on the whole school system thing. I tried to tell them because they said my kid hated reading, my 13-year-old. I'm like, he hates reading what you all are making him read. I was like, whenever he comes home, like the dude loves superheroes, Marvel stuff. I'm like, if you all would let him do a book report on some shit like that, you'll see him thrive.
Yeah, and then like he, like Bristol too, it'd be like Caddy Nation run against so and so. He's like, oh, Caddy Nation gonna cook these boys. And of course, that's when they did go out there and
That's
whoop their
chaos
ass
in the
about
valley.
3 minutes.
Yep.
I need to. I've got to talk to Dale at some point. Whenever he's trying to get rid of some of them tickets, I'm gonna have to buy them because my 13-year-old is over the top.
But he predicted most of the winners at Bristol, and we were watching on Gold Rush. There was a couple times I thought a different team would win, and he picked the other one, and of course they won.
Yeah, but he's probably more observant
Right.
on that stuff than you are. Because where you like to run and you're worried about what
Right.
the competition and stuff's doing, he's there for what's happening there.
I mean, the first time, Whiskey City in 23. I mean, he stood there the whole time right next to us, and he would never sit down.
No.
Right.
And he was jumping. He was
Yeah.
bouncing, jumping.
Oh yeah, my favorite Derby videos are watching him. There's one, I got a couple of them actually where they announced that I win, and he's happiest little guy there ever was, or whatever, and he's happier than I am in the car.
Same way at Troy.
Yeah,
As soon as the checkered flag flew
Yeah,
after Dale won, I mean, he was 0 to 100, boy, on the way out there.
oh yeah,
Well, and honestly, as a parent, even not even a driver, like that's where at least you're doing something
right. Yeah,
correct.
Like I said, all of our local drivers, he thinks they're all celebrities or whatever. He's got all his favorite drivers out there, and like I said, he could probably he wouldn't talk with all everybody here, but if I get him at home, he could probably rattle off 25 drivers off the top of his head and know exactly what their color scheme is. And he's like I say, he likes the orange and black cars. And
Well, like I told you, I wasn't going to ship you nothing. Yeah. I knew you were coming, so we set him up with one of the big hard-nosed stickers and a fresh hat.
And I've got that
trophy. Yeah. It's not like he doesn't got 24 of them in his room right now.
That's fine, but that's orange and black.
So now we'll go 25.
That'll be his new favorite one now.
Well, Dale, man, we appreciate you taking the time out of hauling cars to come down and hang out with us.
Yeah. Anytime.
I guess I got to go get this 03 stripped out so I can give it to Dale.
Bet you won't run an 03 for a while.
Oh, we've already talked about it.
Oh, son of a bitch. Let's just hope.
Oh, you know you're keeping shit away from me.
Well,
I mean, it's just a 2011. It's nothing special.
You don't own an 11, prick.
The listeners don't know that.
No, thanks for hanging
You're right,
out.
it's an 09.
No, it ain't.
Close enough.
10.
But no. Appreciate you. Be safe. We're going to look forward to catching you in 2025.
We got to get the boy on here sometime.
Yep.
Both of them, actually.
Right.
Yep. Maybe we can try to get down maybe this spring before all hell breaks loose for
We'll
summertime.
get Chase all embarrassed on it.
Right.
And get down there. And
Yeah, he turned into a third-place machine this year.
Yep. Yes, he did.
This is because his dad was in front of him.
He beat me at one of them. I took fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job this year.
Yeah, because at Troy, he wheeled it down the third with a wheel that fell the fuck off.
That's whenever you were videoing, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one I was yelling at. I was like, come on! Come on!
You gave me more credit than I deserved. You said, oh, Dale's keeping his boy in there. Bullshit. I was getting pissed. I was like, get the fuck out of my way. I want to finish this up here.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good spot. New segment.
Yeah.
We're going to keep rocking as long as you guys keep sending them.
And it sounds like we're going to have a picture for that.
Yes. We will link that to next episode and let everybody see exactly what we're talking about.
Keep hounding on our sponsors, man. We appreciate everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Fisher Built Tanks, Broadhead Decals, Triple B's Tees.
JM Race Engines.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Got some stuff this week. He's got a lot of stuff in the works.
Dude,
He's got motors
JM,
on hand.
I got a shitload of snaps of fresh blocks going to get machined.
Fresh radiators.
A lot of
Where's he
fresh
getting those
radiators.
from?
I don't know. Maybe some dude sitting across from you.
Yeah.
But
No, you can't even get in the fucking shop right now. I went to get in there the other day. I was like, hey, I'm going to need to pull my... Never mind.
see, we moved everything to the back.
Well, it needs to be. Well, I'm glad he added on.
Yes.
Yeah.
That needed to happen.
Yes.
Because he was really fucking my derby shop up with all of his customer vehicles and shit like that.
And you ain't even gone into the motor room to see that shit.
I stay out of there.
No. Dude, appreciate you. Yeah. Steven, got any last words?
Nope.
Make jump, boys. Fisher Built. Fuel tanks are the next generation of fuel tanks on the demolition derby parts market to date. With stainless steel construction, every tank is internally welded, braced, baffled, and pressure tested, with 2 standard size options available.
Fisher Built Tanks have you covered. From your local county fair shows all the way to your national level events, where you need maximum fuel capacity and structural integrity to get you to the end. If you are in need of a next level design tank, or you just need a second fuel tank for your new setup, give Fisher Built a chance to earn your business. You won't be disappointed.